Hello guys, welcome to United's Glory. So Manchester United have completed the £39 million signing of Donny Van De Beek from Ajax. Of course, many people believe this rules out a potential transfer for Jack Grealish. I am going to tell you why Manchester United should also sign Jack Grealish, as well as our main priority, Jadon Sancho. So guys, I put this question to you. Do you believe we should sign Jack Grealish as well as Jadon Sancho and Donny Van De Beek? Let me know down in the comments section. But, of course, I'll go in depth about it in this video. So first of all, I want to make it clear that I believe if it was a choice between Donny Van De Beek and Jack Grealish, signing Donny Van De Beek was the correct choice, not only for footballing reasons, but for business reasons as well. Donny Van De Beek is arguably a better player than Jack Grealish. He's certainly more accomplished. He's gotten to the later stages of the Champions League, where Jack Grealish has really proven himself in a small pond, helping Aston Villa survive relegation. Of course, Jack Grealish would come with the English tax put on players. Reports are stating that Aston Villa, if they were to sell their captain Jack Grealish, would want £80 million for Jack Grealish. Of course, he simply is not worth that. Had Aston Villa gone down, Manchester United would likely have got him for around 40 to 50 million, which in my humble opinion, I think would be a fair price for a player of Jack Grealish's qualities. So if it really was truly just a choice between Jack Grealish and Donny Van De Beek, I understand the signing of Donny Van De Beek entirely. However, Manchester United shouldn't be in a position where we can only sign one of these players, or even one of these players and Jadon Sancho. We are an enormous club that makes a huge amounts of profits. Do not let the Glazers, Woodward and this board pull the wool over your eyes. We can easily spend £200 million this summer. Now, should we spend £200 million? If we need the players, yes. We are 30 odd points behind the champions Liverpool. We must close that gap significantly. Not slightly, significantly. I honestly feel like we must be going into the last 6 games 6 points behind at best. We must be challenging in the title. We must be in the title race coming down to the wire. That would be proper progression for me. But to do that, we need a very strong squad. Donny Van De Beek does massively improve the midfield. We have a very strong midfield unit now with a mixture of good defensive and offensive players. We've got Matic, Fred, McTominay, who all offer different things defensively. Then we've got Pogba, Bruno, and obviously now Donny Van De Beek. Jack Grealish can play attacking midfield, but he primarily played left forward or left wing for Aston Villa, coming from the outside to the inside and affecting play there. Of course, with the acquisitions Man United have in midfield now, we can also play a diamond, and Jack Grealish can also fill up 2 of those positions, especially if we are short on players. It gives us options. Marcus Rashford's form dipped massively after Project Restart. Sure, he was injured, but let's not pretend it wasn't the first time we've seen Marcus Rashford's form dip. He hasn't got that full consistency level yet, and we need 2 top-class players for each position, and Jack Grealish and Marcus Rashford competing for that left-hand side would really give us strong options on that left-hand side. We're going to have a plethora of games to play this year, especially being in the Champions League. And if we want to challenge on all fronts, we need 2 class players for each position. Obviously, it all boils down to Jack Grealish's price. 80 million is simply too much for him. However, 80 million is likely being put out by Aston Villa to get as much as possible. Manchester United and Edward can likely negotiate that down. But there are alternatives. Manchester United have a number of deadwood players that we can get rid of. We've already got rid of Alexis Sanchez, clearing a huge wage bill off of our records. Obviously, we're keeping Dean Henderson to challenge David De Gea. 2 strong goalkeeping choices. Like I said, it's all about competition for these places and keeping these players on their toes. But we can now sell Romero. Aston Villa need a goalkeeper. Then, of course, there's Diego Dalot, who's being reported to being sold. Marcus Rojo, Phil Jones, I'm not sure who will pay for him. Andreas Pereira needs to get out the door. I like Jesse Lingard, but it's time for him to go, especially we can get a bit of money for him as well. Juan Mata, I think he's done. And like I said, we've already got rid of Alexis Sanchez. So, we can potentially bring in 60 to 70 million in transfer funds. That can cover the price of Jack Grealish And Manchester United should really be spending 100 to 150 million a summer anyway, given the amount of money we rake in. Does Jack Grealish walk straight into the Manchester United team? Absolutely not, but I'm not sure Donny Van De Beek does either. However, we do, like I said, look at Manchester City's squad. They have 2 top-class players for each position. You could argue that Liverpool are getting there. Let's say, for example, hypothetically, we sign Jadon Sancho for 100 million, Donny Van De Beek for 40 million, which we've already completed, and Jack Grealish for around 60 million. Then, we've spent 200 million this summer. But it's all about that net spend. Think of the deadwood that I've just mentioned. If we manage to get rid of them, we could rake in 60, 70 million. If Woodward's nifty, even more. If we can include some of those players in a deal for Jack Grealish, we can bring Jack Grealish's transfer price down. Of course, we're trying to bring that Jadon Sancho price down. That's why it's not been completed yet. But if this is all worked niftily, then Ed Woodward can basically have a net spend of 100 to 150 million, like Manchester United should. The last few summer windows, we've only really had a net spend of 60 million, which isn't good enough for a club of Manchester United's stature. Should Manchester United spend money unnecessarily? Of course not, but this wouldn't be an unnecessary transfer signing because Jack Grealish offers different qualities from the players we have in that front line already. You could argue that Jadon Sancho has similar qualities to the other players in that forward line, but he plays on the right-hand side. Get Jack Grealish in for that left-hand side to compete with Marcus Rashford. Have Mason Greenwood competing with Anthony Martial for that striker position. And then have James's backup for Jadon Sancho on that right-hand side. That's 2 players for each position and a multitude of different types of players. For me as well, a vital thing about Jack Grealish is he has that character. He is a captain. He is a leader. And Manchester United don't particularly have a leader in that front line. We have leaders at the back. We have leaders in midfield. But I don't see any captains in that front line. Of course, it doesn't mean whoever plays up front has to be a captain because obviously the captain is Harry Maguire, but you do need leaders all over the pitch. Of course, there's been a lot of speculation whether Manchester United will start playing the diamond more often this season. Jack Grealish can play in 2 of those positions in that diamond, giving us more alternatives. And of course, if Paul Pogba does leave next summer to somebody like Real Madrid, then of course, we have Donny Van De Beek and Jack Grealish who could potentially be his replacements. So we are sorting the process of replacing him out way before, which is the right way to do it. It's how big clubs move. We need to be proactive, not reactive. Hopefully Pogba stays there when we have all of them. That would be ideal. But ultimately, we've got to move before the problem occurs rather than after it. Now, I know a lot of people think we need a defender. I'm not so convinced on that. Would I take an elite defender? Yes. Are we getting an elite defender for a good price at the moment? No. I just think bring Smalling back off loan from Roma and have him compete with Lindelof, Maguire and Bailly. Maybe none of them are elite defenders, but they are all good defenders. And we, like I mentioned in another video, we should see an improved defensive record this season because Manchester United will start to keep the ball better with players like Pogba, Bruno and Donny Van De Beek in the team. And of course, we can bring the likes of Sancho and Grealish up front as well. That will only improve even further. I think we should expect further improvements from Harry Maguire this season. And obviously Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw. If Bailly can stay fit, he's a very good defender. Lindelof's a good defender as well. And Smalling probably suits Maguire more than any of them, to be brutally honest. So if you're looking for a partnership, then maybe try that out. If it doesn't work, then of course, next year, bring in that elite defender. I just feel if Manchester United do what they should be doing and getting rid of the likes of Pereira, Lingard, Mata and of course Sanchez, who we've already got rid of, then bringing in 2 players for that forward line in Sancho and Grealish shouldn't be beyond reason. We are Manchester United Football Club. We should be aggressive and ruthless, and that's how we should be moving. So for me, this talk of getting Donny Van De Beek ruling out Jack Grealish shouldn't be being discussed. We should be getting both of these players as well as Jadon Sancho. Stack that squad, have options off the bench, be able to rotate when necessary, and we can close that gap on Liverpool significantly and hopefully bring some cups in as well as good progression in the Champions League. Like I said before, the board will want the fans to be content with the signing of Donny Van De Beek. They're hoping it quietens the transfer talk down. Even James Cooper on Sky Sports has alluded to this. Let's keep our foot on their necks because they are happy getting top 4. That is just the truth. The incentive for them is the profits of the Champions League. But the profits of winning a title doesn't necessarily mean that much more money for them as opposed to the outlay on players. But this is our football club. Let's keep the pressure on. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. Would you sign Jack Grealish? How much for? Or would you rather somebody else? I'm looking forward to your responses. Please do interact with the channel. It really does help the channel out. Subscribe, Smash a like on the video. Until next time, talk soon.